we now started having large language models. And that is sort of a further step from deep learning. And after large language models as well, we had generative AI. So how many of us know what generative AI is? Oh, we don't know. How many of us know what ChatGPT is? Okay, so ChatGPT is basically generative AI. So remember what I was saying, that initially you need to feed the computer information. It can't make inferences. Now they could make inferences, but it became more exciting that now instead of they just making inferences, how about they produce new knowledge, new data? And that's why people are always saying that AI is becoming scary and AI is eventually going to take over the world and all of that, because then now they have the ability to produce new data, produce new information. And that is what Gen AI is mainly about. If you've used an image generation bot, you'd see that. And my colleague over here would give us some real examples and we'll have a practical session. But you are able to, for example, type text and generate an image based on the text that you type. Let's say Messi playing football or scoring a nice free kick. And based on that, you can either generate a video, an image, and all that. And that is the era of generative AI. Now, it's important for us to understand that this is how far AI has come. And anytime I speak about AI and I give the introduction, I always throw the challenge back to all of us that, and majority of the time is in a business setting, but I always throw the challenge to everyone that if you look at yourself and your business or your expertise, right, where do you fit within the equation? Are you someone who is new to artificial intelligence? Are you someone who is played with ChatGPT? Are you someone who doesn't really use AI at all? And the truth of the matter is that we all use AI one way or the other. How many of you know that? Because if not for anything at all, we are all on Facebook. And Facebook is always recommending friends for us. How many of you get friends requests? I have over 1,000 friend requests. I don't know what to do with them. But it's very accurate, right? And that is AI, because AI making the recommendations and all that. So whether we like it or not, I'm just making the point or emphasizing that whether we like it or not, AI is here and we're in the era of AI. And I'm excited that we are all young, and it's for us to carry on the torch and know that when we had the web era, when everything was online, it took Africa a while to do e-commerce, right? But now in the AI space, things are moving very fast. And as young people, we have the charge to be able to carry on with this and make sure that we make the best out of AI. Can someone say amen? That's just by the way. But there's a journey of AI and there's a journey of conversational commerce. Now, I would want conversational AI, and I would want to talk a little bit about the journey of conversational AI. So, in 1950, I think we spoke about it. I spoke about the tuning test, which is where we started with the, which is where people started playing with the concept of AI. That okay, if I am behind, if let's say I'm here and there's a computer or whatever behind me, how am I able to say something and get an accurate response from that? So the tuning test was done to judge machine's intelligence and to simulate human behavior. But beyond the tuning test as well, there was the first branch of machine learning, which was in 1951. Remember, we're not talking about AI in general. AI has its own journey, but this is for machine learning. So the concept of machine learning came in 1951. Then in 1964, there was a program called the Students, which was the first time natural language processing was ever used. So NLP stands for natural language processing, right? And it's nothing more than machines being able to process whatever you say and give you response in the natural language. So assuming you interacted with a chatbot, right? And you ask that, okay, what is my name? And the chatbot says your name is XYZ. That is natural language, and that's natural language processing. Are you all with me? Yes. So it's important that we understand some of these concepts. So if not for anything at all, there is Gen AI, which is what? Generative AI. We know there's ML, which is what? We know there's LLM, which is what? Large language models. Oh, you guys are, please, a round of applause for it. That means you guys are paying attention. All right. So then there was Eliza, which is the first chatbot, and that was in 1966. So imagine, now that we are hearing all of the craze about chatbots, and it actually started in 1966. Can you imagine that? And how many of you heard of chatbots last year, 2 years ago or 3 years ago? I heard of chatbots, I think, somewhere in 2018, right? Before ChatGPT and all of that. But before that, chatbots have been around and have been doing a lot of things. And that is just to underscore the point that in Africa, we are still behind schedule. And then there was ChatGPT 3, right? Then after ChatGPT 3 as well, there was 2015 when then Otmar, Elon Musk and the rest also came around, and they also did the open AI stuff and all of that. Then 2022, we had ChatGPT 3.5. And who knows the current version that we are running on ChatGPT? Anyone? 4 point. So there's 4.0 as well. So how many of you have tried out the 4.0? Can someone share one exciting feature that they've noticed about 4.0? Maybe. No, because we played around a lot today with that. Yeah.
I can't tell if it's 4.0. It allowed me to kind of demo. Okay, yeah. So usually I put in questions and then it gives me responses. But there was one time where it was interactive. It started asking me questions back, trying to get my feedback.
Yeah. How many of you experienced that? Okay, so another person wants to share their feedback.
For me, I used it to enhance my CV. Yeah, and it gave me things that I could polish up and things. Yeah.
Nice. So that's a good use case to enhance your CV. So I also use ChatGPT, right? And what you to share in your experience. So I realized that now they've introduced a feature where it saves your memory. So whatever conversations you have, right, it saves the conversations. So the next time you might not even ask the same thing, but it has a lot of context, right? And that is how far we have come. So the next time you are using ChatGPT, if you are not mindful of what you say, know that gradually it's gathering a lot of information about you, right? Not necessarily about you, but about your patterns. It's similar to Google search. You know, when you search items, after a while, you get a lot of those things. And there's a funny joke that goes like, if I have a conversation with you about, let's say, Gobe, the next time I'm seeing ads about Gobe. How many of you have had that? I see it as coincidence. I don't believe that it is true. But it happens a lot that you have, not that you are chatting with someone, you have a conversation. And eventually you start seeing ads around that. But there's a theory around the fact that whatever we say is being listened to, even your laptops and all that, is being hacked and listened to. And that is the reason behind that. But I don't believe in that propaganda. So yes, I mean, this is just to give us like a brief overview of AI, how far it's come, and the future prospects of AI. It's believed that AI will generate over 2.6 trillion to global revenue, and there are 63 main cases. Use cases vary, and it includes mainly around sales and marketing, software engineering, research and development. So I did computer science in KNUST. I'm not old, but that was I think I completed sometime 2013, right? And it was computer science student back in the day was difficult because you have to write all your codes every time. But now with Gen AI and with a lot of things online, you can easily just be able to write an entire program, within less than a week. How many developers are here? Yes. So you'd agree with me. If first we used to go to Stack Overflow and go and check all of that. Now, I don't need Stack Overflow. I can just type my code and paste it in ChatGPT, and automatically it's able to either optimize it for me or let me know, okay, if I got this error, it's able to fix that error for me. And that is where we are with AI. Just to say that AI is going to boost our productivity a lot. For sales and marketing as well, that means that if I'm a bank today, I don't necessarily have to hire 20 agents to be able to handle like enquiries. I can easily use an FAQ chatbot to do all of that. If I'm into research and development, I can use AI to scan and know, okay, what are cancel cells, make a lot of analysis and all of that. And Google has a lot of tools around vision AI and all of that. And I remember there was a program that I attended from Google, and there was this guy that had a warehouse, right? And people always offload items into the warehouse. And typical African style, when they offload 50 items, they pocket 5 of the items. So he installed cameras and installed AI and kept counting all of the items. So with vision recognition, with object recognition, he was able to know how many items had been offloaded. And all of this was also being calculated into an application. So he didn't need to be watching the camera 24/7, right? And that is the power of what AI does and all that. So I think how many of us are own businesses over here? How many of us are business owners? All right. So this question is mainly for the business owners and some of us who want to also start our businesses. So how does AI transformation look for your organization? Can you set some metrics on all of that and some initiatives that needs to happen? Do you also need to rewire the organization in order to unlock the full potential? So transformation doesn't starts when you redesign your organization. So it's the organization that will carry out the transformation. So that without rewiring your organization, it's difficult to unlock the benefits. And like I mentioned earlier, technology doesn't transform organizations. People do. And for that reason, it's very important that we create a framework in our organization that allows for the transformation. And some of the questions that that your transformation team or your transformation group would have to think about is risk as well. Because as much as you're using AI, you should know that there's risk with AI as well. And it's very important that we factor that and know the kind of information that we feed to AI. I had a lot of questions I wanted us to discuss, but in the interest of time, I think I would skip all of that. But we can always have a conversation on that. So you need to essentially identify, recruit, motivate, and empower people within the organization to carry out the AI transformation. So transformation traditionally is not carried out by leaders, right? It's carried out by transformational leaders. And one thing that transformational leaders do is to empower their teams to be able to carry out transformation, since they are agents of transformation and champions of transformation. And my final charge, this is part one of my presentation, but my final charge to all of us, both business owners and individuals, is to understand that AI transformation is also a personal transformation. It starts with a change in your mind, knowing that if you want to be able to be on this AI train, it changes very, very fast. So what you know today might be different from what you know tomorrow and a month or two later. So it's very important that you always play around with these tools and you always make sure that you are learning and what? Relearning. Thank you very, very much. A round of applause to you guys. So I think I'll end the first part with these slides. That you need to make time to really understand the landscape. And that is just the point that I just made, that you need to always learn, unlearn, and relearn. You also need to ask the right questions. And we'll talk about prompt engineering, which is about asking AI the right questions and set a clear agenda, lead by example, and help teams to change their behavior. Now, helping teams to change their behavior essentially as a leader means that you are not just giving instructions from above, but you're also a part of the process, right? Because once you're a part of the process, when they see your behavior, they also change and they emulate what you are doing. So that would be part one of my presentation. I would leave maybe a minute for any questions around how, as business owners or as leaders, we can lead AI transformation organization. Any questions from anyone? Okay, so we'll take one question. The mic. Maybe in the interest of time, we could just so that.
Yeah, just a quick question. When we brought AI into the last company that I worked for, then there was a big concern about like privacy and about employees kind of like sending messages, writing things, and exposing company secrets. Like, do you have any advice about how to choose an AI tool that's going to keep the company information private when it needs to be?
So yes, I think on the issue of privacy and all of that, one thing I always say is, first and foremost, if you are using any of the AI tools, there's Claude, there's Llama, there's ChatGPT, using the premium version to start with is a must. Because if understand that nothing is free, even if you are using a free tool, doesn't make it free. Typical example, Facebook. I wouldn't want to talk more about that. But my first tip would be that always use the premium version and always check for GDPR rules around that as well. So there's data protection rules. If you are using, let's say, a software from Ghana, always check if they are compliant with data protection rules, right? If it's an international software as well, then there's the GDPR, which is data protection around the world, mainly for Europe, but is used in the US as well. Because these two things are very important. And the third thing is that also know the kind of information you feed it to AI, right? So don't feed too sensitive information to AI. The truth of the matter is that we are having several other language models being built, and I strongly believe a point would come when every organization will have their own. They'll be able to easily build their own language models and be able to query their language models and the likes. But before we get there, I think the best thing first and foremost is to make sure that you're not using free things. If you are sharing sensitive information, you always use the paid version, be it ChatGPT and the likes. So that way, when you check their policies and there's any data breach, you can easily hold them accountable to that. And you could be a millionaire for that. I hope you know that, right? Yes, but that is just to talk about the points that you need to know. So I'll talk about prompt engineering, and we have 15 minutes, so I'll use 5 minutes for. Unfortunately, we can't take more questions. So if you have any further questions, I'll share my LinkedIn as well, and you can always reach out to me. I'm also around till the end of the day, so we can have a conversation after this, just so that we can move faster. So prompt engineering. So I wouldn't ask who knows what prompt engineering is, but prompt engineering is essentially having interactions with AI, be it ChatGPT or any large language model, having interactions with AI on that. And before you have any interaction with AI, you need to understand that what you need to ask yourself, what is the task that you want AI to do? What is the problem that you want AI to solve? What are the potential benefits, and also understand what the risks are as well. So before you ever share any information with AI, be it ChatGPT or the likes, you need to ask yourself, what's the benefit that I'm getting? What is the risk that is involved? And what is the opportunity cost for me? So if, for example, you want to use ChatGPT to let's say make analysis on, let's say, your company's budget, you need to ask yourself, what are the benefits I'm going to get? Probably it would give me a fair idea of my budget, but I also need to ask yourself, is this budget something that I want to be out there, right? So you need to always have that cost benefit analysis. So like I said, prompts are basically inputs that you give to generative AI and ChatGPT. So this is sort of like the most important slide I would want to talk about. And after this, I'll just quickly run and hand over to my colleague, Ike. So to be able to give a prompt, you need to follow certain key steps, right? And it involves one, being specific, right? So you need to be specific about what you want AI to do for you. So ChatGPT or generative AI has tons of data. So if you don't feed it the right information, garbage in, garbage out, it would also spill back to you the wrong information. So you need to be very, very specific. And you need to also give it context as well. We'll talk about examples in the practical session, but I need to give it context as well to understand what exactly you want. So an example of a context is maybe, as a project manager, I want to do XYZ, right? So you also need to look at the tone as well. Do you want, assuming you're editing your CV, do you want something official, unofficial? And all of this has to be included in your prompt. Then there's also examples. So majority of the time, like I said, since it's a lot of data, when you give it examples, it's able to follow through and understand what you want and give you a similar thing based on that. Then experimentation and refining. This is just to say that majority of the times when you type your first prompt and get a response, you need to further refine that prompt to be able to get something very good. Then clarity as well, and audience awareness. So there are two formulas that I'll be talking about for how we craft our prompts for ChatGPT. So the first one is the RTF formula, which has the role, means you need to clearly define the role. So an example of that is I'm an experienced project manager that specializes in XYZ. So you can be a project manager, but you need to be specific. So let's say I am a software developer in a company that does XYZ. That is a role. So then you also need to define the task, right? Which is what task you want AI or you want ChatGPT to do for you. So an example is identify potential risks that could go wrong with blah, 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 blah. So you need to be specific on the task that you want to define, and the format as well. So once you do all of this, how many of you know, I mean, for those of us who have played with ChatGPT, sometimes it can give you bullet points. It could give you a long, non-fat sentence. It could also give you a 160. But all of this is based on the formats that you ask for it to give you. So in this, you are saying, okay, give us a risk register based on the fact that I am a project manager and I'm trying to identify risk. Give me a risk register. If you don't do that, it could easily give you a lot of information that might not be relevant or necessary for you. And we'll talk more about some of these examples. So I'll skip this slide. This is just an example that I was given. So I'll quickly move to the other bit. So the RTF method works very well if you are sort of querying, or you are having very basic tasks that you need to do. But assuming you have like very complicated conversations or very complicated tasks that you need OpenAI or ChatGPT or any language model to do for you, we always recommend that you go with the create approach, which is sort of also similar to the RTF, but this is more detailed, right? So create, the C stands for character, the R stands for request. I'm sure you'll be able to map character to role, request to tags. Then we have the examples as well, where now you are giving examples of how you should do that. So these are a few examples. So identify the risks associated with A, B, C, and all of that. Then we have the adjustments and constraints. So that is when you are further refining the prompts that you are giving to the large language model. Then the type of output. Who remembers what the type of output is in RTF? That's the format. So you notice that this has a more structured approach. Then evaluation as well. So evaluation is essentially still playing with ChatGPT to give you more and more quality information and output. So this is the RTF and this is the create method with the same prompts, with the same tags that we are looking at doing. So in the first one, you notice that it just says that I'm a seasoned project manager, experience in software development. I want to generate a project timeline, and the timeline should be delivered based on milestones. So now the create takes the same instruction again, and this time makes it more detailed so that I can get more accurate and more detailed information. So it says it gives the character, which we have already spoken about, the request, which is we've also spoken about. And it gives an example. The project involves 3 phases. So remember, the milestones that it's going to give are going to be based on these 3 phases. Okay, so finally I have the coupon. So I think yes, then the type of output as well and the next steps. So this essentially is the difference between the RTF and the create approach for creating your prompts. So at this point, I would like to hand over to my colleague. But before I do that, while he's setting up, maybe I would want to hear from us. How many of us have ever interacted with ChatGPT using any of these approaches, or maybe how you also interact with ChatGPT differently from these 2 approaches that have been shared? Okay, so.
Hello, my name's Tiffany Gamble. I am the founder of Emerging Ladies Academy, where we empower Black girls in technology. I use ChatGPT every single day. It's such a time saver for me, even when it comes to research, grant writing, how to structure a business, how to help with my clients, anything of that nature. That's the first place I go is AI, and I love it. It has saved so much time for me. I did not know that was a method that you just talked about, but I use the same method. I'm very specific, and then I go, if I don't have the right answer, I go and refine it. I also use the Pro, where you can put links in, so AI can go look out on your website. If you're asking questions, you can put documents in there, you can put images. So is very powerful for me. I can just think of something that I want to do and then put it in there, and it'll give me specifics on how to lay it out.
Nice. Is anyone else?
Hello, my name is Kwabena from Wavelength Solutions. So my approach with AI is more of just giving it the scenario and it coming up with an answer for me.
So mainly using the example approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, a round of applause. So I think we'll take care, then back.
Okay, so we recently had a coding festival, right? And then right from the beginning of the planning stage to the execution, I was basically entering prompts, asking it, okay, if you're a project manager, because that was my first experience. So I asked it, if you're a project manager in the education space, focused on children between so and so ages, because those are the age ranges we focus on, and you want to organize such a program, what steps would you take? And then all the questions I asked were in one particular, I don't know how to call it, but everything relating to that particular program were in one particular space. So when I go back and I ask it anything relating to that, it then comes to one point he made about memory, keeping in memory previous questions. So it was about the same thing. And then we needed to send out thank you messages. So I just go back to the same place. I ask it, so this particular thing, we want to send thank you messages, draft something for us. And then one thing I used this morning, we sent a letter to the GES making a request for a program we wanted to organize. And then we needed to send a letter relating to that same letter to another person to help us expedite the process. I didn't need to spend so much time crafting the whole letter. I just copied the previous letter into it, and then I gave it a context that we met this person at a program yesterday, and this person said this was the conversation we had, so I should just draft a letter relating to that, and it was so accurate. I didn't need to change much about it. Thank you.
So that, wow, we have so many people wanting to ask questions. Should I have just 10 minutes. Should we hold on with the questions and finish this, or we should just do the questions? Okay, all right. So then I'm super excited that we've all used that. I'll hand over now to my colleague Ike. Okay, he's still setting up. So while he's setting up, maybe we can take yes from behind then.
Thank you for the opportunity. My question is AI. Ghana, as we sit now, from national perspective, is there research work that shows that culturally we can embrace this new technology so that business, if we are adapting it as you are saying, we know that our ecosystem is very ready to bring that kind of transformation, the impact on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, I think after this question I'll hand over. So this question is one that I was asked a similar question last time about AI and culture, right? And I told them that honestly, there's a lot that's happening with AI that we are now aware of. How many of you know of the Google AI, the AI Google Center down along the road over here? Yes. So there are a lot of language models that have been built to Africa. Ghana NLP is doing an amazing work translating a lot of text into local languages, right? So I strongly believe that AI is already available for Africa to use. And in terms of cultural context, right? I believe that just as pounding fufu with pieces of mortar is a thing of the past, as Ghanaians, we need to be able to open up and embrace the use of new technologies. Else, we might say culture, and be left behind. Because whether you like it or not, the world is going forward. So if we stick to our old ways of pounding fufu because of the sweat and the flavor to add to the food, then we'll miss out on more important things. So that's just to say that there's a lot of work that's going on around building language models locally, right? There's Ghana NLP. Google is doing a lot of work. Farmerline is working with a lot of farmers using AI and the likes. But I mean, maybe it's not properly structured and formalized where you can say, okay, when I go here, I'll find a research paper on all that is happening. But once you read and you look around, you know that there's a lot that's been done by Ghanaians in the Ghanaian context for AI. So I'd like to hand over to my colleague at this point.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Ronald is a colleague and a partner. I'm Isaac Mafo, Executive Director of Bulk SMS Ghana. Ronald said a lot of things. In the AI space, things are running just like that every day, every single day. Ronald asked you about the version of ChatGPT that you've been using, and you said 4.0. 4.0 is not the current. Just last week, we moved to 0.1. And what 0.1 does is that it reasons. For the 4.0, it was on the level of high school. But the 0.1 is on the level of a PhD. So that's where we've got into. For some of us, because not all people will get access to the paid version, we try to do things that will enable people get as close to the paid version as possible. So, for example, because it's natural language, you can create whatever you want. That's the direction we are going. People are saying, oh, AI will take your job. AI will take your job. No, it's not AI that's going to take your job. It's the people who learn how to use the AI who will be taking your jobs. According to the IMF, by 2027, 40% of the workforce would have lost their jobs to people who have learned the AI well. I'm going to, I loaded a conversation, but the screen, since I connected, something has changed, so I can't even find it.
Someone said you see
What was that? There was. This one is going to be very interactive, so you'll be using your phones and stuff. How many of you have heard of that one had all of them up there, but you will go ahead, don't worry. How many of you have heard of Notebook LM by Google? And how many of you have tried it? What was your experience?
I'm Michael. So for me, it's very fast. You know, it's just like writing Python at a go and being able to use a high performing GPU instantly without having to do a lot of configurations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I saw another hand there.
Yeah, I was thinking it was the one that could make podcast instantly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What they've done is that you can. Let me quickly, before I go to ChatGPT, I just want you to get some perspective and then pick your interest in a certain direction before I even touch on ChatGPT. So this tool was created by Google and it's free. So once you go, any one of you can try it. Uh, no, not yet. It gives you the opportunity to load your documents. So it can be a YouTube link, it can be a PDF file, it can be whatever. And out of that, it enables you to create frequently asked questions, create table of contents, create a study guide. So assuming you are a student and you load your, how do you call it? Exactly. It can create a study guide for you. It can create a briefing doc. And then on top of that, it can create a podcast. It's unfortunate that the sound is not coming. But you have two people discussing what you loaded. And if you listen, you might even assume that they are humans, but they are AI. Yesterday, I saw someone trying it, and the two people having the conversation. One was telling the other that I've just been told that we are AI. But it feels so real. I'm wondering why they are telling us we are AI. So I even called my wife to check whether, but I called and no one picked. If this is real, then the humans themselves, I think they are also living in a, they think they are real, but they may not be real. And sometimes you get confused when you listen to these things. Okay, so now let's jump to the chat GPT. Let's close that. Now, prompt engineering is very important. For some of us, Ronald and myself, we now even create prompts for companies and charge them for the prompts, especially when it comes to custom instructions. You need to focus on learning how to prompt well. Ronald mentioned garbage in, garbage out. There are various forms of prompting. I'm going to start with this. With ChatGPT, you can iterate with it. So let's assume you are not good at prompting. You have a prompt. Just give me a simple prompt and let's try it and see. It's just a simple prompt. Size. So that's what you want to.
That might not give us accurate information on the data set, but maybe, right? Yes, so cover later. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's based on data set, so if it's not updated, it might not be
So if you want to improve this prompt, you tell ChatGPT itself that I want to write a cover letter. Help me, iterate with me to help me improve the prompt. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I want you to help me write a cover letter, but iterate with me, yeah, to improve the prompt. So the prompt will be improved based on what you've told ChatGPT. So it will ask you questions, and then as you keep answering these questions, it keeps improving the prompts. So you can even tell it to iterate with you in, let's say, 3-4 steps. So this was the question you asked. Was that not the question? Okay, iterate. So now it's asking you the questions. The same cover letter. So it says, what position or opportunity are you applying for? So you indicate. Normally, what I do is I'll bring one, then two, but we can continue without, you know. No, I'll put the numbers there. I wish we had a lot of time, but because we would have done a lot. So compare what we did first to what is now coming. It has improved your prompt, and now it's gone ahead to, and then you can still, it says, do you think, what do you think of this draft? Would you like to adjust any parts or add or remove anything? So you can keep going, you know. And then you can choose one. You see, what we've been doing, we've been using the 4.0. If we had used the 0.1, it's called 0.1 preview. So it's just a preview, but it's been solving big time problems because it doesn't just respond to your prompts. It takes its time, it thinks, and then it brings out the response. What I'll do is that before we leave, I'll give you, they say my time is up. So sometimes when we do these things, we can keep going. If you are not careful, the next 5 hours we will still be there. So since we are around, if there are any questions, you can approach us and then we would help you through a few things. Yeah.
So maybe we'll take just two questions. Just two questions then. Oh, I said two questions. I think because we have been alerted behind. So I think we've not heard from this side of the room. So can we get maybe one question from here, then one question from, okay, so please just stand up and, because we don't have time, just stand up and ask them. didn't get a question.
That is where customs instructions come in. So, because of time, we couldn't go there, but that was one of the plans that I had. So you create a GPT. GPT is a generative pre-trained transformer. You create a particular one within ChatGPT or any other AI app for that purpose. So we can, within it, create something purposely for that. So any question you put, it knows exactly the direction and it gives you exactly what you want. Right. But like I said, we are around, so
And with that as well, you can input your own data as well. And I mean, AI is still evolving, so not every information will be available, but you can also create your own information and also blend Google and AI for sometimes. And when you need stats as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think last question. Please, you're available so you can ask any of your questions.
Okay.
Else I'll be.
Thank you very much. So mine is more of a suggestion or contribution. So with the prompting, if you are not too sure about how to prompt, what I do is you can actually write your prompt and give it to say Gemini and tell it that okay, this is what I have. See, maybe I'm setting up a Redux store for my application. And you tell Gemini to help you with your prompts and it will refine your prompt for you. And now you come back to GPT and give it to GPT and it gives you the best of the output. And with what he said, so for Gemini again, you can actually go to Gemini, they have a studio, and you can actually train that particular model with the kind of data you have, say a PDF or whatever. And based on that, it's going to give you a set of response. And one more advice is that with GPT-2, you can actually always create a particular chart for whatever you want. So with that, even though GPT has a memory refresh to keep up with the old data, for my experience, when you create a particular chart, you get the best of response. Yes, thank you.
Nice, thank you very much. A round of applause to him for that. Okay, so I think you can connect. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn profile. Let's keep the conversations going. If you have any questions or any thoughts or any ideas, like I said, what I know today might not be relevant tomorrow, but what you know might be relevant for me tomorrow, right? So I would want to take a quick selfie. Can I get the entire room? Nah, okay. All right. So thank you guys very, very much. It's been a good session. Thank you guys very much. And we'll be out. Okay. Let me use Snapchat. So please, we'll get as many people. So maybe some gestures or this thing will do. So let me just. Or we should use your camera instead. Please, if you have iPhone 16, we could use that. Okay. Let me get one with this side of the room. The interactions wasn't. Okay. All right, so cheers. Yay. Something, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you guys very much. So we'll be around for any conversations or any. And fun fact, for those of you who would want to buy iPhone 16, you can take a picture and get out of it and merge them. How many of you know of that feature? Where to take a selfie, instead of taking a selfie, I can take you a picture, then come here and someone takes the phone and it merges the two pictures. Yeah, so it's a new feature. So time is up. So thank you guys very much.